Yo, what's up, Trap Squad? We're here today at the trapping convention I've been talking about going to. This place is already slammed. We're just now getting started. We're gonna have some interviews and stuff with like Murray's and all that good stuff. So hope y'all stay tuned for more of this video.
With BIGGStime feeding hardware, carry most all your trapping needs here in southern West Virginia.
Well, here we have some outdoor edge knives, gutting purposes, razor edge, Havilon knives. Got you a thing for outdoor edge or knives. Got a trapping bag for all your necessities to carry around. Got some bulletproof for your traps, Zep, also to dip your traps in. We got some flaked wax, logwood trap dye, trap chains. There's some movie 550s right here. Got 110 conibears, 330 conibears, trap covers, dog-proof traps, sifters. Got you some swivels, J-hook pliers, my favorite, super stakes. I'm not exactly sure, pretty sure it's a wolf fang. Got you a Sterling System skinning gambler, gambrel, wolf fang driver, conibear tool to set your trap. Got your groundhogs, help make your dirt hole sets with the groundhog. Then you got your coyote urine, bobcat urine, red fox, all your lures, coon bait. You got some warhorse predator bait, Old South lures, Rodin's Revenge. Got some blackout. All kinds of different other baits. There y'all are.
We're going to replace that there wing with, say, an old CD. CD disc. VHS tapes. They're all but obsolete right now. You got some, just take and wrap it about 20 times around your fingers, tie it off, and cut those so you have it wrapped. And what it'll do is just pop out. And it doesn't matter how much rain you get, it stays shiny, it doesn't get all balled up. Same type of thing. This would be more for like a cat set. The cat set would be directly underneath of it. If you have a mixed line where you have the cats and the coyotes, I would set for the coyote because you will catch more cats in a coyote set than you will coyotes in a cat set. That makes sense? Coyotes is more of an open. I'm not saying you can't catch a coyote right here. But the more you move away from that brushy area, the more apt. He doesn't like to be confined. For a bobcat, I want to be flexible in that green car right there. So, if you're in an area where you have both, keep in mind you'll catch more bobcat in a coyote set than you will coyotes in a cat set. Areas like, got a little area here. Everybody talks about location. You got your wind, your prevailing winds and so forth. Your thermals in the evenings, that may even change stuff. Once you find out an area and you're looking at do it the way I used to do it, pretty childish. You close your eyes. When you open your eyes, whatever pulls your eye is going to pull their eye. Whether it be a little tuft of grass, you've got this little hole right here. I don't know if I'd be putting a setup against that electric box there, but the same type of thing. You might have a little tuft. And if you don't have a tuft, normally on the there's nothing to say. You can't come out here. You get a little hole. You go there and you get a tuft of grass. And you'd be surprised. You put that tuft of grass on that little knoll, you will see that from everywhere you look. A little tuft of grass. They're going to come up with you, whether you use it for a backing for your send post, or you're going to actually use it in a dirt hole or a flat site set. You put a mound of dirt or just a little clump of grass. Orchard grass or something like that, put it right on top, and you gotta love them, but you also gotta hate them. But on something, you got an area here. When I was younger, I was one of them ones with bulletproof and so forth. Well, I kind of wish I'd have wore some of these things back in, because right now my knees are about shot. And when I go out first and we're putting a big line in, I always wear these here. Now when we start checking and so forth, I carry a little gym mat that's only, I don't know, probably 8 inches wide, 13 inches long. I'll flop it down. And the only reason I do that is for my knees. It's not the big boulders. It's that little pebble that you can lean over on and you cry like a little girl for a while. That's why I do it. Like I said, on something like this here, your walk-through type. I'm not going to put any anchors in the ground here, but I am I use bullet stakes. Well, the super stake. I do use chain. My traps are over here. Please feel free to look any of them over. In North Carolina, the law is you have to have a 3/16 offset. I do like the offset to begin with because of the blood flow and so forth. Your trap should be, in my opinion, should be center swiveled. Everybody hear what Nick had mentioned up there about the foot moving back and forth? Some of your traps come with an anchor off to the side. If they would get caught, say it's coming off like such, that foot gets caught on this side and he pulls, he's naturally pulling through onto the other side of the trap. Which if you have any abrasions at all in there, it is going to cut it. With the center swivel, regardless of where they you get caught at, it's pulling directly straight on it. This side, their foot movement stays the same. And the swivels, I mean, that's a given. Especially if you're in some areas where you got taller grass, you can get bound up and so forth. Shock springs, it's another thing that I, instead of coming to the end of that chain on that abrupt stop. Now there again, I do sell live critters, so I'm trying to be as careful with the animal. It takes a $100 coyote, turns it into 10. So I'm going to do everything I can to make that $100 coyote. But on areas like this here, this would be similar to almost like groundhog holes. You got groundhog holes in maybe a hayfield or off to the side. Every predator is going to come and there's nothing said over there. How's that smelling, buddy? On a set like this here, when it rains, yes, this set would probably fill up with water. But I just got a little trench in here, which what it does, as it fills, it's going to flow out. Now, what I would do, I'm going to put my holes color on what the water is going to be. That way, when it rains, it's not going to fill up my dirt hole. And I actually kind of go in more of a horizontal instead of the 45-degree down. And I use wax dirt and wax sand. So if we do get a monsoon, it gets 2 inches of water on here, I don't care. Because when that water does deplete down, if I set still, it's gonna be fine.
Prepping my traps. I'm going through, I'm checking everything, make sure my J hooks are closed. I can glance right there, I know where to look, and I can hunt for it. Make sure I've got a trap tag. This brings me to the regulations. If you're going to trap, you've got to read the regulations and stick to it to a T, because it will backfire when you catch somebody. Now they're selling house for $20,000. You don't want to be involved in nothing like that. So be right when you set your trap. And we got to sneak around and trap fire folks to pick it up. But you know this guy down here's got a dog that he lets run loose. I would just go on. Don't set yourself up for that. Just go on down the road and find you another place. But trappers, you'll do a lot of sneaking around. I've caught lots of coyotes, lots of animals within sight of people's houses. Because I trap on the road. You hear everybody say location, 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 and there I trap, that is the road, the path, logging road. I'm set right on it. I've even heard the saying, hit them with your truck board. Unless they're on the drag, which I say in my trap net, if I anchor this trap, I will be able to run over this coyote myself. And that's how I know that I'm going to be where he's going to be running. Trap prep, I'm going with this guy up here. I die with logwood dye. I've used walnut and sumac berries like these. But I just buy a bag of walnut dye. Usually, I dye them once a year. Every year, I've got enough traps, and I don't run them for too many. But if I clean all my traps, it'll last me a whole season. I won't have to go back. If you just got limited numbers and you made several catches and you're going to pull your line and move to another area, I would suggest doing the whole process of starting fresh, clean traps. I will, on a remake, I'll set the same trap back because the whole area smells just like the animal I caught. I've not had any trouble doing that, but I don't want to pull that after a catch and take it to a fresh area and set that trap again. I want a clean, fresh trap when I start on a new set. The table anchor, and like Nick has already touched on, is the drag. I run a big percentage of my traps on drags now to cut down on my theft, to get the coyote over in the brush. And back when I was pulling ankles, when things would break your back trying to pull them, especially after ground pull. So I went to cutting them. I was trying to be cheap and just pull everything and reuse it. Once you go to drag, it's just so much simpler. It's easier for somebody if they do find a trap. Most people try to pull it up. They can't hook a truck or a four-wheel, so you can pull it up with your hand, and they don't care much. I have a chain cut, but thieves carry bolt cutters, I guess. The typical person's gonna run on the trap. I can have stuff pulled out of the ground. If you run a good quality drag, you will not have to worry about losing that animal. If you throw it back in that brush, that animal will be right here. I mean, it ain't even gonna be down in there. It'll be right here. I will, most times where I'm on the edge and there's usually always brush there, I'll go back there and I'd hook this probably under that pine tree and I'd cover the chain back to about right here. And since the leaves are there, I'd probably go ahead and throw some over. It wouldn't be necessary if you cover the first couple feet. That way when he gets caught, he takes off this way, his next one will be back in there and he ain't coming back out. If I'm in a wide open area, something I have did, it's scary, so I know what side I'm on. Carry these little 2-foot pieces of rebar, which I'll make little punch holes with them. I use it if I'm in a rocky area and I want to drive down there and make sure I can get my stake in there before I start digging around and make a pat bed. I use it for that, so that big driver. It takes a lot more effort to drive that in the ground than it does here. Just to make sure I get my anchor down as far as I want to. But you can drive this. If I was going to sit on this side, I can drive that on down in there, just leave a small amount sticking up. I'll pre-hook my drag on that, which it'd be down in the ground close. And it's angled. Most times you have weeds to hide it. So when the coyote got caught, he pulled that way, and he couldn't go. But when you pull this way, if I had it ground, it'll slide off. It'll slide right up off. Very light highway. I won't leave that much of it. We'll just pull it and it'll slide right off. You can just take and pre-hook it like that. And that's usually enough to get them to pull and then go back the other way. Where I'm right on the road, I usually don't have to do that. But we get some farm country fields that between hands. I think it's Jeff Dunlap to do that, and it does work. So, scratch free, top set. I don't know how many of you here is brand new. I've probably been trapping longer than I have. Your basic type sets, which I would read and learn, you would search it, with a lot of explanation, would be a flat type set. My definition will be a well blended set that really you would walk by and not know is there. It can have a rock incorporated in it, a clump of grass, a stick, but it would be a well blended set. I would consider that a flat type set. A dirt hole, pretty self-explanatory. You got your bait down in a hole with a trap in front of it. A blind set, what I call blind sets, we call trail set, is I don't use any lure bait. If I've got a distinct trail and I set a trap, I'll 100% always use that on the drag so I don't tear up my good travel area. Big catch circle, if you've got him stay there, that trail's no good no more right there today. I turn into something else, some other type set usually. But if you got him on a drag, he's gonna get caught, he'll be over in the brush. The trail's still perfectly intact. You can sit trap back in there, cover it, and you can use the same trail all year long, the whole time you're trapping that area. That's where the drag really shines for me, because I like that type set. Somebody asked me on the last group my favorite type set. I don't know if that's my favorite type set, but it's the most rewarding for me when I do connect on a blind set, no lure or bait. You just took a trap out and figured out where animals was there. Real rewarding for me. Lure and bait, I think that's another one of the categories Nick touched on up there. Educate yourself. You want to have a curiosity type lure. And most of the time, if you order from a cut place, they got a description. You'll see all the best sellers, and they'll be reviewed. And you can really go off that. It's really all you need. But curiosity, a clan type lure, a boot-based lure, and say a call lure, which most times going to be skunk. Skunky lure. Nick touched on about if you get too much stinky stuff, they're going to try to roll in it. And that's obvious. I've got hunting dogs, and if they find a big pile of mess, they're going to roll in it. Come back with it all over their collars and you want to kill them. I don't know why, but it triggers some kind of instinct in a canine to roll in something stinky. A lot of times, I would put like my call lures up high on limbs like this above my set so the ring can really blow. I like real skunky type lures when it gets colder, not so much if it ain't below freezing, or if I'm trying to catch a bobcat. I really like skunky type lures.
Up our way that learned how to catch coyotes and put them up in numbers. I've caught over 100 coyotes in the state of West Virginia, Wetzel and Mon County. I don't know if you guys know that, Morgantown. I live in PA, probably almost far southwest in the state of Pennsylvania. You possibly could. I can be in Gallatin, you can do 100 West Virginia that. I can be in 100 West Virginia, 15. Therefore, it makes it easy for me to trap Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Actually, I can be a lot of my West Virginia properties a lot closer. One of the things nice about West Virginia, you guys are a little more liberal on what we can catch. I'm allowed one bobcat a year in the state of PA, and I have a 2-week season to catch him. I can go 15 minutes across the border and I can catch 3 of them. You know, same bobcat, but I can catch them 3 down the road. I've been fortunate. Like I said, I'm on national TV. I figured out a way to catch coyotes in numbers and simplify it and help a lot of other people catch coyotes. When I started trapping, foxes were real big in our area. Let me clarify. Pennsylvania's known for the fox population. This isn't your Greg Brown 800 to 1,000 a year population. That's the central part of the state. Our part of the state, I was catching 100 foxes a year. all the way through college, which was the late 90s. What happened? The coyotes came. When the coyotes came, the foxes disappeared overnight. You couldn't catch 100 foxes if you tried in our area. We just don't have them. So when the coyotes came, me being competitive like I am, I wanted to be a coyote trapper. I had foxes figured out. So I started trapping coyotes the same way I trapped foxes, and guess what? I didn't catch them. So at that time, trapping time wasn't even on the air. So and YouTube wasn't even a thing. I couldn't just go click on the internet and say how to trap coyotes. So what did I have to do? I had to buy books. Where are all the books written on coyote trapping? Where are they from? Out west. Totally different animals. Not so much the characteristics of the animal. They're both coyotes. They look exactly the same. The way you got to approach them is totally different. I caught a few coyotes doing it that way. Love Mark June. I talked to him, picked his brain a lot. I mean, you're talking about a guy catching hundreds of coyotes a year out west. If you drop Mark June, he's probably going to catch coyotes here, but he's not going to put up the numbers that we do. Let me tell you this, I've been fortunate with having a national show on TV. I've been able to trap all over the United States. If you can catch coyotes in West Virginia, you are going to slay coyotes in any state you go to. We go to Mississippi every year. You know, you guys see the episodes, me and Justin Rogers and Jason, we're down there. Me and Jason will roll up there. Now these are guys, and I say they're good trappers. We'll roll up in the state of Mississippi and we'll catch 7 coyotes for their one. Because we trap them like we do up here. So if you figure out a way to trap them here and you go to another state, you're going to have lots and lots of fun. That just kind of tells you how hard this animal is to trap. So when I was reading these books, I did catch some, 7, 8, 9 a year, which at that time, that was really good, but I was seeing a lot of sign, and I knew I was missing a lot of coyotes. There's a lot of coyotes that I should have been catching that just wasn't. So finally, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I can catch foxes all day long. It's still a dog. Why can't I catch these coyotes? So everybody see Men in Black? What do they do with that stick in Men in Black? They had to say, here, look at this. They erase everything that you learned. That's what I had to do. So basically, I stepped back. Everything I'd read out of books and everything on coyote trapping, I had to forget because it wasn't working for me. I stepped back, started changing my setup. I tried to simplify it as much as I possibly could. A lot of these guys, like, nothing to take away from Nick. Nick just wears out the coyotes. His setup, he's probably got a small fortune in his setup. My setup's a little more simple. I mean, Duke Trap sponsors me. So granted, I have to promote Duke Trap, but guys, I've used every trap on the market. Even before I ever got on television. The reason I got a sponsorship with Duke Traps is because he knew I was using Duke Traps and catching over 100 coyotes a year. He reached out to me, I didn't reach out to him. This little trap here, for the way I trap, works perfect. It's affordable. This entire setup here probably cost me 10 bucks. What do you think an MB set up the same way? Nothing against them because they're a solid trap. It's going to cost you more than 10 bucks, you know. And if somebody comes and steals this trap, I can still take my wife out. Somebody steals a whole line of MBs, Peyton's probably not going to college, you know. I mean, that's kind of the way I kind of look at everything. When I started trapping, you know, I was a college kid. I worked at a local Agway. You guys know what Agways were? They were feed stores. I made $6 an hour. I was not buying MBs. This is what Shorty Gilbert was not buying me. My dad was not buying me traps. I was buying my own traps. So this is what I got started out with. Once I became a pipeliner, I had all kinds of money. I could buy whatever I want. So I went out and bought the MBs. See what I'm using now? I can afford them, and I'm still using these because I like the way they bed. I like the whole setup. It's a pretty simple setup when you really think about it. And you'll find out as more I talk here, the key to my whole trapping style is simplicity. We want it as simple as possible. I want to be able to get a trap set in the ground as fast as I can. It's a numbers game. If I set out today is opening day of trapping season, and I'm starting at daylight, there'll be 75 of these in the ground at the end of the day. That is my goal. Once you start seeing me set traps, you'll understand how I'm able to do that. The more traps I got out in good locations, this numbers game, you're going to catch more coyotes. If I come out here and I spend 15 minutes on a set, I just wasted too much time. You're not going to put up the kind of numbers. If you're wanting to hit that 100 coyote mark, because that's what we all want to hit, You know, we want to be able to tell our buddies about coyotes. They want to see the catch pictures. They want to see that stuff. I can't do it on 15. We don't have the population for that. I need to be able to cover as much ground as I possibly can. Back to this little trap. Duke traps are, especially this trap, when you start getting into the bigger traps, it's a little bit different. Your number 2s, your 550s, that Pro Series, they all have a heavy duty chain on them. It's a number 2 chain. I have never had a coyote break a Duke chain. A Duke chain is cheap when you get into these little traps. We'll call these little traps. That's what everybody tells me. I don't know how you catch anything with those little traps. So we'll identify this as those little traps. These little traps, the chain on them is chintzy. I never had a coyote break them. I break them when I pull them back out of the ground because I want to save my earth anchor. If I can reuse it again, I'll pull this trap. I may pull this trap out of the ground here, go down the road and punch it in somewhere else. It hasn't been fooled with. It's never had a coyote in it. I'll just pop it out and go. If I cut these earth anchors off, then I got to put new ones on. So if I can get them out of the ground and save them, I do. So I put a number 2 chain on there. That way I can hook onto my puller and pull it up and not break the chain. I like to run about 12 inches. I was a fox trapper. Any of you guys that used to really concentrate on fox, it was all short chain. Usually 6 links, I think, was the number that I always used. I used to use those number 2 square jaw Victors, and I had them set up at 6 length. Coyotes, I wanted to go a little bit longer. I don't like the long chains. I see a lot of these guys, they're running, it looks like feet of chain. If I take 2 foot of chain, what do I got to do to it? I got to bury that and hide that and get that in the ground somewhere to get it on these traps. This here is about the perfect length for the way that I make my trap beds. I can get it buried in there, get it hid, and move on down the line. I do put a crunch-proof swivel on it. There again, when you get into the little traps of Duke, their swivels are chintzy, and it is what it is. I don't make them, you know, but I know how to fix them. So I put a crunch-proof swivel on. Top that off with a wolf fang anchor with 3/32 cable. I try to shoot for around 12 inches on the earth anchors. I used to run 18 inches. What happens in the state of West Virginia when you start pounding an earth anchor in? You hit rock. So what was happening was, I'm no geologist, but I'd hit rock about 12 inches. And I would end up about 6 inches of cable left out that I've got to turn. Now, we're trying to bend this cable and get it under there and hold it down in there. So I thought, let's just fix that problem. So I shortened my cable up. So I run about 12 inches of cable. I can pound this thing down in. And when I pound that all the way down with my driver, I want to bury that swivel. So what do you got to do with earth anchor? Give it a pull. When I pull that, that puts that swivel right at the top of the dirt in the middle and the bottom of my trap bed. That way if I catch something, it can spin around. That's about as simple as a setup as you can get. Like I said, when we talk about cost, this is a $10 to $12 trap setup. And we'll hold any coyote that we catch. I know we all hear about the mythical 70 pounders. I've caught a bunch of coyotes in my short life, and the biggest one I ever caught was 52 pounds. Not saying they're not out there, but there's been a whole lot more closer to 30 pounds. That's what we're after. We're not after the mythical beast that's going to break 70 pounds. I don't know if we'd hold him with a log chain. We're going to focus on the average 30 pounder that we're all probably going to catch in numbers this year. So this setup here is perfect for that. Something else I do, I want a hair trigger. I want that thing crisp. I want my pan to set as level as it possibly can. So when we hit this thing, it's going to fire right away. As I was moving that trap around, what you guys noticed about my pan? Free fall. Alright? That is probably one of the biggest arguments in the coyote community. Pan tension. We've all heard it. You know, 30 years ago, you never heard of pan tension until a certain guy invented a pan tension tester. Now everybody's ate up with it. Me running my trap, hair trigger, buried in solid. There ain't a coyote in America that's going to fire this thing and get his paw out of there without getting caught. If you have a missed trap, something else happens. 9 times out of 10, something else happens. More than likely, just like Nick had talked earlier, it wasn't bedded salt. I take care of the bedding. I have tools. Before I had that, most of my misses were because of that. We've all done it. You bed a trap, you pack the dirt around it. That's good enough. Come back the next day and just lift it out of the bed. Oh, that's been a coon. Do it again. Oh, it's a coon. Then right away. It's contaminated. I got scent on it. Oh my God. You know, you're pulling everything, you're waxing and boiling and dying again. Chances are there was never any issues with that. The trap wasn't bedded solid. I realized that. When I used to dig these big trap beds and try to get these things bedded down in there, I couldn't keep them solid. So what I do, I take that trap and I twist it around there and I get that lever, try to bury it in the dirt. Yeah, it tightens it up, but what else does it do? It slows it down. You want this thing to fire just the same as it feels. There's nothing around it. You want that thing just to fire straight up out of it. Any of you guys have watched a lot of my YouTube stuff and even some of my earlier episodes of Trapping Time, you guys remember how I used to pin these traps down? Nails. I used to use nails. I couldn't keep them bedded solid. I'd take nails, 16-penny nails. I could set that trap right here on top of this ground and catch a coyote. That trap would never move with those nails. I still use it. I got a cookie cutter, but a lot of times when you get, we're all wanting to catch a bunch of coyotes. We're not going out there to set a whole property to catch one. I want to catch 10 coyotes out of one location. Well, when you start catching a bunch of coyotes, the location gets tore up, the trap beds start getting tore up. If I'm catching coyotes and they're still coming, you're darn right there's going to be a trap there that we're going to try to catch these damn things. I'll pin it down with nails because that set will keep working. That way if that coyote's in there around that loose dirt, as long as that trap doesn't move, we can still catch it. That's our goal. We're not out there for nature walks. You know, Trapping Time is a results-based business. If I'm not out catching anything, you're not going to have much to watch at 9:30 on Friday night. So my goal is to catch coyotes. So that's what I've got to do. So when I'm out there, I don't have the time to be checking empty traps or flipped out of bed traps. So I have to have something that when I know that's my best opportunity to catch a coyote. And the way that my system, and you keep hearing about me say my system. So what I've done over the years, I've taken little things that I've learned, and you know, some of them were successes, some of them weren't successes, you know, and kind of built my own style of trapping. And you know, we've got 80,000 people an episode watch Trapping Time. I do not want 80,000 carbon coffee Robbie Gilberts out there trying to catch coyotes. Will this style catch you coyotes? Yes, it will. But I'm going to tell you right now, the way I trap's not going to work 100% for you or you. But what you can take from it is it's something to build off of. And that's what I do. I may go check out Tommy or John's demo and pick something up. Am I going to change my whole style to what?
Well, Trap Squad, this is the end of this video today. We got Nick's biggest dog right here. Good old dog, but today's the end of the trapping convention. Had a great time. Met some new people. Also got some new conibear traps we're going to be doing the video on. Stay tuned for more of that. And thank y'all for watching this episode of Trap Your Outdoors. Stay tuned for more.